I am here with Ashley Schapiro from American Eagle as part of our Backstage interview series, and we're going to be talking about some fun industry trends and buzzwords of the day.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, thank you so much for being here. It's our pleasure. So let's dive right into it. Before we get to the buzzword bingo, let's talk about some big picture topics for that we talk about a lot with our senior leadership community. The first that I'd love to get your input on is managing up. It's a topic that's come up a lot, especially first through the pandemic, and now as we're talking about maybe marketing through economic uncertainties, is how do you work with not just the CMO, but the CFO, the CEO, the board, to really ensure that they have a full understanding of the work that you're leading, the impact that they're making, and that understanding that marketing is the profit driver, not a cost center. And I'd love to get your input on kind of how to manage those conversations and navigate them.
Sure, that's a great question, and I think one that all marketers obviously struggle with, that balance of brand versus commercialization and ROI. How do you explain that to each of your constituents, as I like to call it? I think number one, always make your objective and your priority known for what you're doing. And the objective and the priority, if you are very clear about that from day one, you kind of set the expectation. So that's part one. Part two is know your audience, right? We all know that the CMO and the CFO maybe aren't going to respond to the same thing. You need to influence people the same way you would in any other situation to get them respectfully where you want them to go, but help them to see what it can do for them. And at the end of the day, that's really what our job is. It's to explain exactly as you said, marketing is a profit center, but we also have a responsibility as a brand. One of the things that my team always says is, as marketers, there's so many priorities, and we actually have to do all of them, right? You need to build the brand, you need to build the business, you need to build the customer base. You have to do all of those things, and different people in your leadership team, they weigh those things differently, and it's your job to show how everything you're doing helps them all work.
I love it. And let's build on that for a second, because you talked about your team and their responsibilities as a leader in this industry. Arguably your biggest job is building that team and making sure that you have the right subject matter experts, the right discipline leaders and stakeholders. And it really feels like there's something new to account for every single day, a new technology, a new platform, a new app, a new tool, a new specialty. How do you build that organization? What is your approach to making sure you have the right people?
So I tend to love to build a team that's sort of culture first. Usually when somebody joins the team, I say, welcome to this wild, crazy family. Jump on for the ride. So I think the culture of the team, to some degree, is sometimes more important than the hard skills of the person. Because a lot of things, if people are smart and they're excited and they want to be doing the work and they love it, they can be taught anything, right? I mean, the base has to be there. So I think number one, I lead with culture first. I want people who I want to be around. A team that you want to every morning have a chat with, not just about work, but have a side conversation or text them a picture of something crazy that happened over your weekend. Those are people who are going to want to come to work and have fun. We are selling jeans. We are not saving lives. We are America's #1 jeans company for men and women aged 15 to 25 and women of all ages. We're not saving lives, but we're doing really fun work. So people who want to work together, number one. Number two, hire your audience. Our job is to be the #1 jeans brand for Gen Z. So we hire Gen Z. And as you said, things are changing every day. How do you stay on the pulse? How do you keep in touch with it? You hire the people who understand your customer. And a lot of times, sitting in my seat, sometimes something comes across my desk or my Zoom or whatever, and I quite frankly don't understand it. But I have to trust and know that the people who are on my team, they understand it. They know what's relevant. Gen Z slang changes hourly. I don't even know what they're saying half the time, but these people do. And that's how we make sure that we stay relevant, by hiring our customer.
I love it, right? And that's such a big conversation we talked about, right? Is cultural relevancy. And if your employees are your customers, you ensure that you're on top of it all. So I really love that approach.
And they love the brands, right?
Right.
You want to hire people who love the brands.
Exactly. One of the things that we talk about is, you can't go 2 seconds at CES without hearing about the metaverse. So, and that, again, maybe has existed in various forms for a number of years, but continues to grow and develop, especially when it comes to younger consumers who are native to that environment and understanding and accepting of new immersive experiences. we've seen a lot of experimentation over the last year, and it's certainly a nascent space, but I'm curious where you see that category going and how brands can continue to invest in and if they should be investing at all within the metaverse and what those opportunities might be.
So I think American Eagle as a brand and that wonderful team we just talked about did an amazing job of giving us a lot of first-to-market opportunities in the middle of metaverse or digital innovation. The buzzwords continue to evolve. And I'm very proud of that work. Last year was really a test and learn to really build loyalty and start to understand the space, understand our customers. How will they interact in that space? Things like Roblox, where we've been extremely successful, NFTs, all the stuff, digital wearables. As we think about how brands should do it, and the question, should all brands do it? I think that's a very good question. And it sort of goes back to something I said earlier, have an objective. Don't just do it because your friends are doing it. That's not the way to play ball. You should do it if it makes sense for your customer. For American Eagle, our customer is Gen Z. Youth culture, they are always experimenting, as you mentioned. So for us, our role is to be where our customer is, and that's where they are. Roblox is an example. So I say that's number one for brands. Number two, make sure whatever you're doing is relevant to your brands. And the reason why I say that, and not to bring up Roblox again, I do not work for Roblox, but the reason why I'm using it as an example is when we launched our first experience, it was connected to our Members Always campaign. And the idea was that everybody was welcome. So a lot of times in Roblox, things are expensive. As a parent, I spend a lot of money on Robux for my children, but we wanted to make it accessible for everybody. So our clothes are free. When we did our NFT, they were $1. We wanted to make it accessible. That is connected to our campaign and what we are doing as a brand. So just do it in a way that makes sense. And then lastly, know what your KPIs are, but you have to be comfortable failing. When you're in a test and learn, kind of break things mentality with some new technology like this, you need to be comfortable knowing, it might not work. And that's okay. And you're going to pivot and you're going to learn and you're going to evolve. Will it last? That is your question. I think that there is a space for metaverse, for digital innovation in some way in everybody's lives. I think there's going to be multiple extensions, and the way that brands continue to use them and interact with them, I think will also continue to evolve as things like loyalty, commercialization in those spaces continue. Because as a brand, you can only turn and burn and test and learn for so long. Eventually, the CFO asks you for the ROI, all of our conversations coming together. So we need to start to commercialize it, I think, in a different way and build a bit of loyalty. And that's what we'll focus on this year. How do we take it one step further? It's fun.
It is. It's fun. Again, we talk a lot about different trends and challenges, again, thinking about the new year. So I'd like you to pick one.
Oh, if there's, come on,
one trend or one challenge. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something for you specifically, but for the marketing industry. Like, what should we be paying attention to? I know we talked about the metaverse already, but are there new technologies? Are there other trends that are really exciting? Are there challenges that we should be tackling as an industry?
I'm going to take a boring route and tell you that I think that the trend or the watch out is the role of the channels. I think that as marketers, we need to start thinking about there's so many places to interact with brands, whether you're shopping commercially or not. So let's just name a few. Obviously, there's stores. We love the tried and true store. You have traditional e-commerce. You have apps. You now have social commerce, which is moving at the speed of light. Think about, what used to just be a Instagram checkout. Now TikTok shops, all of these things emerging. You have T-commerce evolving. So you can shop directly from your TV, merging something old with something new. You have metaverse experiences. So what is the role of the channels? And you need to really think about different customers and why they're going to each of them. Will one customer only shop in one space? Will they use different channels for different things? And how are you bringing your product and your brand to life in them differently? For me, that's the most interesting thing. And I would have said the same thing last year, and it might be forever because it's going to continue to change, right? And do they go away? Do they stay? I have no crystal ball.
And the challenge there is, there's more channels to think about, more platforms every year, and more, and you have to exist. You can't, it's not one size fits all, right? Everyone is nuanced, right? The behaviors are nuanced, the users are nuanced, and existing there and being there for your consumers, you have to be different in every channel. And
Correct.
To do that at scale, right, is maybe the toughest part.
And something close to your heart would be mixed content strategy. Very, very interesting. There is never enough content. Gone are the days of shooting one campaign, you got 5 images, you have one video, and the consistency strategy. No, it's different types of content. It's creator-led content. What does that look like for each of those channels?
I love it. Well, thank you so much. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of fun stuff to talk about and think about through the year and beyond. And we hope to have you back again soon.
I would love that.
All right. Well, thank
Good
you
to see
so
you.
much.